I guess I'll put in the Discord alive.
It's connected to the ALEXN.
Oh, my phone is. Let me disconnect that. Unless you want to listen from down there, I could put it on.
Right. It's good to go. It's good to go. Okay. I think I know how we can do this. I feel like well, let's just go for it. Screw it. Who cares?
Would you rather go region by region or day by day?
I was just gonna go region because it's
Yeah,
easier to
that
look at.
works. Agreed.
Because like I can see, I'm looking at the live region right now, or like the live bracket right now, so it
Okay.
shows the results as well. Yeah, let's just do region by region. I think that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, that works.
There's some things that you could
Let me-
tackle there.
I'll pull up the bracket on my other screen as well. Log an hour of work.
What do you mean?
I'm pulling it up on my work laptop so that I don't break my computer.
Nice.
I won't actually log an hour of work. I'm not a scumbag. You seen who's in first in our bracket pool?
Yeah, Terp's mom. Who's that?
My mom.
Your mom. All right, that's right. All right, cool.
It's it's the best bracket I think I've ever seen.
I didn't see your bracket. Here, wait, break it down on the pod. Break it down on the pod. We'll do it at the end.
All
When we're done recapping it, we'll be like, shout out to my mom who has a great bracket.
right.
Because I haven't seen it yet, so I'll be shocked. So I'm excited.
It's so correct that I'm pulling it up as my reference to see like who beat who.
All right, let's just jump right into it. I feel like we're good. All
Yeah.
right. Get started in
Wow.
3, 2, and hello and welcome to the Live Guys Podcast. I'm your host, Brady Fitzgerald, joined as always by my co-host, Chris Hagan.
How you guys doing?
It's good to be back, Chris. We are
Great to be back.
we get ready for one of the most unorganized podcasts of the year. Probably, I honestly think talking about March Madness is one of the hardest podcasts we have to do all year, just
Yeah.
because of
I mean, we have a structure in place. It's
yes.
just, will we stick to that structure?
Mm-hmm.
And even within the structure, we're bouncing across days.
Yeah.
So
So
bear
just
with
bear
us.
with us. We got to talk about a lot of basketball. Just as a heads up, reminders: the Discord is in our link tree. Soon, like real soon, we're gonna be asking fans for mock drafts for each of their teams and each of their. So please join. Um, and if you don't know how to join, you can always DM any of our socials, and we'll get back to you eventually and show you how to join. And then we'll do a little bit of football at the end just to talk some shop. Anyways, we're gonna jump right into March. The madness has begun. The main we're gonna start. Actually, I'm not even gonna get main themes or anything. We're gonna go straight. We're gonna start. I almost broke our structure already. We're gonna start in the East region. Um, what is the East region top left, right? Is that the East region?
That's what I'm
Yes.
looking at least.
Cool. So yeah, let's do the East region, where we can start off. I think we'll start off with number one, um, with Duke and Siena. That first round game, Siena really almost put up the upset. It seemed like in the second half, Duke came out. They stopped playing zone, or they switched. I forget if they switched the zone or stopped playing zone. But they just completely changed up their defense and swallowed up Siena's offense. And after that, it was pretty much over. A scary come out for Duke, but they came out on top and they beat up TCU pretty well the next round. So, um,
It's definitely kind of hard to get a read on Duke, where it's like part of me just wants to forget about them looking shaky in that first game. Like it's almost like they just rolled into that game and roll the ball out there and let's go, like, spend 2 hours and go home with a win.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're down 9 in the first half, and it's like, all right, I guess we gotta figure this out and play play some real basketball. And honestly, the TCU game, like, they didn't look great for a half either. They really only played one impressive half of basketball, but impressive for them is like outscoring TCU by 25 points in 20 minutes. So when they turn it on, they do look like that number one seed. So I kind of just don't want to worry about it at all. But then part of me is like, there just feels like there's something a little bit off with this team. And maybe it's partly that it's not a Coach K team. And I know like Shire made the Final Four last year, so it's not like he's a notorious choker or anything like that. But I don't know. I definitely don't feel as confident in my Duke making it to the national championship as I did a week ago.
Will say that, like what you said with the not choking in the tournament, technically you're right. He did make it to the Final Four last year, but if you remember that game, it was such a terrible choke at the end of the game.
Yes,
And
that was true.
I do think that that could be a very similar story to this St. John's game coming up. St. John's has now made it through. We'll talk about them, of course, in a second, but they're now facing Duke. Um, and St. John's, as we just saw with Kansas, they can get a big lead early, and then they can let the lead dwindle down and still be able
Mhm.
to win the basketball game. And it might take a crazy buzzer beater shot, but they're able to have that foundation behind them. And if Duke does start out slow, they can get up early, and we might be able to see or we might see an ending where the basketball's in St. John's hands and Duke is running out of time. So it is. They do have to start out, I think, coming up against St. John's this weekend. They have to have a hot start. They have to have that swallowing defense immediately. I think that's the key. If they let the other team's offense control the first half, especially against St. John's, I think they're going to be in some trouble.
Yeah, definitely. And like this region is just brutal these next few games, and um, you know, the fact they were able to coast in the second half of that TCU game is big because if they had to play a like a tough, crappy full 40 minutes and then go play St. John's and Michigan State, like, I mean, these are awesome defensive teams that can win games by just like totally swallowing up your offense and making the best players in college basketball look like average Joes sometimes.
So, and I thought with that sense, it's gonna be the offensive guard that comes out of this region that really like nobody really has thought of yet. That really takes this region over because of what you just said of how much size and defense is on this and coaching pedigree. I mean, looking at the four teams in the East region right now, it's Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, UConn. If that was the Final Four, people would be very excited. Um,
Yes.
and these are just four teams in one region. So there's going to be that's why I had Kansas coming out of here. I thought that there would be some sort of boost that Darren Peterson gives when he plays the full 40 minutes and gets that connection with the team. And you could tell from the start of the or from the St. John's game that he was just a little out of sync the whole time, and I thought that he'd be able to gel that together. And I mean, he shot terribly against St. John's, and he still scored 21. He's still a fantastic prospect, but they really weren't able to gel it all together, all in one spot, and that's why I thought that would be able to push them past, and it almost worked out against St. John's, but I do think that they had that type of point guard to push them past here. Now I think it's kind of open reign. I think any four of these teams could win this region. I would not be shocked at
Oh
all.
yeah.
And of course, it's 1 through 5 seed besides the 4 seed, but that's still. It is. Let's go to Michigan State. I think finish out this region. Um, you're a Big Ten guy. You watched a little bit more of Michigan State than I have. Were they? And I didn't get to watch this Louisville game. Were they up the whole time, or was it a close game?
For the most part, yeah. I think this was the first game of the day.
I believe it was.
Saturday?
Yeah, I
No,
think
no,
it was
no.
Saturday.
Sunday it was. Or maybe it was the second. It was one of the earlier games, so I wasn't like fully sat down watching basketball like I was later in the day. But yeah, they were up most of the game, and they are like just the poster boy Michigan State team. Like they play exactly how Michigan State always plays. They're incredible on defense. They're kind of clunky on offense, but they have like one awesome guard and Jeremiah Fears and like super freak athlete bigs. Like Cone Carr is just that guy's ridiculous. Um, and they win games in the tournament. Like that's what Izzo does. He's like he only has the one championship, um, but they almost never get beat on the first weekend. And I honestly think they have as good a shot as anyone as getting out of here and making it to the Final Four. I don't love this UConn team this year, and obviously where you talked about Duke and then St. John's the 5 seed. So I think this one really is up for grabs. I think the Michigan State UConn game is going to be awesome. Um, but yeah, it feels like at home having a Michigan State team in the 16. Like you just know that they're going to be there.
Yeah.
All the changes in college basketball. They were talking about it on Hard My Take this morning though about how like there have been all these changes to the game and all this like crap people complain about, and Tom Izzo still there, like one of the only old school coaches that's still doing it and just like goes to adapt. And here he is, like through all this change, he's still making Sweet 16s. So good for
Yeah,
him. I don't like
it's
him,
impressive.
but only because I have to play against him.
It's impressive, and, like, I mean, this is John Rothstein's it's March, or January, February, March, or January, February Izzo, right? And
Mhm.
then April, so, like, this is his month, and this is it seems like every year, you're right. We talk about, the Michigan State team winning a tournament game and winning probably 2, and, it doesn't really matter what the talent's on the team. It's, like, seems like they have down years and they win 2 tournament games, and they have up years and they win 2 tournament games. So, it is,
I will say I'll be
impressive.
I'll be pretty disappointed if Jeremiah Fears doesn't kick anyone in the nuts in one of these upcoming games.
He's due. UConn too. You could see Hurley losing his
Oh,
mind over
Hurley
it.
just freaking out. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about UConn for a second. Um, their guards are their main issue this year. Their centers are really good. Their Clarence Reed is fantastic. Carabine has been there. He was there for 2 national championships already. Um, and he's been there for 4 years. He's an excellent player. He really saved them against UCLA last night with his 27-point career high game. And I mean, the main thing is Solo Ball, and Solo Ball is a really good player. He's a really good point guard, but he can have nights like he had last night, where he plays 13 minutes, goes 0 for 5, and just looks like he has no reason to be out there. And when that happens, like they had Jaden Ross step up last night, but if a Jaden Ross doesn't step up, I mean Malachi Smith and Solo Ball, I like the players. They're solid college guards, but they're not elite level prospects, and they're not and they can't facilitate to Reed as much as they should. And Reed, like, I mean, Reed got 30 and 27 in the first round game against Furman, that's against Furman, so I'm sure um, I mean, not a lot of people could do that, but still, the and they have a guy named Braylon Mullins who's really good, but he's streaky as well. Just a lot of streaky guards players, and they have a solid front court. So I think that's going to keep them in games, and it's going to keep them in this Michigan State game. But I think Fears could be able to take over on Solo Ball, and that's going to be their issue here, um, going against Michigan State. So I still have the faith in UConn's infrastructure, but when you're going up against the infrastructure of Michigan State, it's like, you know, one infrastructure is only a little bit above the other, and for pick your poison on who you want to have above the other. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
you can it's once that comes down to it, I think the guard play is gonna wipe them. That's why I had Kansas beating them. I think the guard play is gonna wipe their floor.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. It is funny talking about UConn as like having a down year, and it's like not a super impressive UConn team, and they were what 28-6 and the number 2 seed in the tournament, and like borderline 1 seed. Like they won another game or two, and they definitely would have been in the fourth one. So
Yeah, no,
that's
they don't
just a
blow. Yeah,
testament
they
to
don't blow
how
a
like
couple of those Big East games, and they're a one seed for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So
It
again,
is
these are
crazy.
like honestly with most of these teams at this point because it has been very chalk. Like the critiques of these teams are very minor. Like we have
Oh yeah,
a lot of really good basketball teams left.
yes, yeah. Like the UConn critique is, it's literally guard specific defense and some choppiness on guard specific offense. Like that's about it. Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, this is gonna be a bloodbath. This is the best region by far. We knew that going in. It seems to be that way still. I honestly, it's funny. You talked about the chalkiness, and I was gonna do that whole thing at the beginning. Um, I loved how this bracket's set up, and I think that we have. I think we have a couple teams that
I do too.
uh that people aren't considering Cinderellas because they're not literally a bum school in the middle of Alabama.
Texas.
Like, yeah, exactly, in the middle of Texas or something. Like, we'll get to. All right, let's go. What's the region over? What is that?
The West.
Arizona one. Yeah, West.
Actually, let me last thing before we move on from the East. That
Okay,
Ohio State TCU game, first game of the tournament,
fantastic,
was maybe the best first tournament game ever.
fantastic.
The one kid on TCU, like when he went down and slammed his head on the ground, and then they just like threw him back in there 2 minutes later. I was like, how is this guy? How does he not have a concussion?
Even that last
But that
shot.
was like just peak March.
Oh yeah,
He
even that
what?
last shot where it's like the guy it's like an amazing pass in the middle, and then like the buzzer beaters comes from the center in the middle of the court. Like that was
Mhm.
crazy. That was a great game. That was fantastic.
All right,
Good
on to the
call.
West.
Good shot on that. Also, just I think as you pointed out, just being in the office for the first time in March was uh was a different level of unfocused. It was an absolutely like it hit 12 and like the game started at 12:15 and like it hit like
Yeah.
11:30. I'm like my day's over. Like I'm sorry. Sorry champs. Like my day is completely cooked. Um so yeah, that was good. I also shout out they some was in the air this Thursday where they let everyone win gambling on Thursday, and then the rest of the weekend they shut down the books. They were like, "All right, you're done." Because I
I mean, if you
won.
took favorites on Friday, you were in a good spot.
That's
But
true.
I feel like March may be the one event where people aren't taking favorites.
Yeah, yeah. It's but just the March atmosphere. Let's go to the West. Um, where do we want to start here? I wanted to start with we were just talking about Cinderellas technically and the scrappy team from Texas. Um, this team was not that good, guys. This team lost by 9 points to South Carolina. They were in a dogfight with South Carolina, absolute dogfight. That's why I had BYU taking them, and then I gotta say this happens to me every single year. First round, I picked the wrong team, and then that team is the Cinderella that
Mhm.
goes to the Final Four or whatever. And so I had BYU, so I had the path. I literally picked path correctly, and then I just picked the wrong team. So they upset Gonzaga in a game last night, or yesterday. Was it last night or yesterday? Maybe it was 2 days ago.
It was
Whatever.
the same thing.
I know, but I mean, last night is like the night. Yesterday is like the day. Whatever. Never mind. You're right. Point. You have a point. I'm just talking to talk here. Anyways, so uh, Texas is here. They're facing Purdue. Purdue uh lit up Miami. That was they're looking on fire. They're looking like they're a team that's had uh players on their team for 4 years. Um, and then the other thing that makes me mad about this region is Arkansas, because I've been on Arkansas all year, and then I had like this. It was right before the freaking thing, and I was like, somebody was like, "Oh, I don't know about the defense for um Acuff," and I was like, "Shit, that might be a problem." And then I flipped my pick from, and I had Wisconsin, and then I had High Point over Wisconsin, and then I heard like, "Oh no, Wisconsin's like they're the real deal this year. Like, just don't sleep on this
I
Wisconsin
heard the
team."
same thing. There was so much Wisconsin hype going into it, which
And then
honestly
so that
made
made
it
me flip that pick
much
too.
better. I did the same thing. I don't know if I had High Point beating Wisconsin, but I had Arkansas in my Sweet 16 and probably like an hour before I switched it because all I heard listening to pre-tournament stuff was that this Wisconsin team is legit. and it was
Made
such
me
a good
so
year.
mad.
Big Ten, like they finished fifth. It's so much more impressive than people realize, and they're just the same Wisconsin team from
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 every
years
other year.
before. Point, and then it was all of a sudden it was like, oh, but High Point's like really good. I was like, yeah,
Well, and, like,
eh,
I heard about the three-point shooter, the kid that only takes
yeah,
three-pointers, and then he finally, of course, he gets the game winner as his only made field goal of the whole season,
mhm,
um, which is that's just insane script writing, um, and the other thing is too, I saw that, and I said, I went, "I ain't falling for it again." Like, I'm not like, everyone's getting excited, "Oh, Golke number 2," like, I ain't getting excited for I'm not falling for it, and then I got. So, it was, but I did have High Point beating Wisconsin, and then all I heard was about Wisconsin, "Oh my god, they're so good this
yeah,
year." And then I had
yeah.
them.
I like they're gonna give Arizona a tough battle in the Sweet 16.
Yep, that's exactly
All
what I
right,
heard.
I'm in. I'll get in on the Badgers. Literally the only team to get upset in the first round. Like I guess you could throw Carolina in there. You could throw BYU in there, but it's not a
I feel like
big point
everyone had
spread. Like
Carolina, though. We were all in on that. The second
on
Caleb
what?
on Carolina, the second Caleb Wilson was
Oh,
out.
getting beat. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Again,
we
like
lost our
was not.
structure. Just realized that. Honestly, though, I don't have a
Reset it.
lot to
Reset it.
talk about with these. Besides, I feel like we talked about what I wanted to talk about with this region, though. Um, I will say
I will
shout
say it
out.
is a shame that BYU. Like you're kind of right about Texas being like not the most ideal team to make it to the Sweet 16. Like, especially like BYU is so fun to watch. So it honestly was kind of a bummer where it was like, I guess we get the Cinderella, but at what cost?
Well, and
Um,
like that would
I
have been
wasn't
like
shocked they beat Gonzaga either, to be honest. Like it was kind of similar to UConn where it's like it's a down year for Gonzaga and they're a 3 seed, but their best player Huff was hurt too, and like they just don't look like a strong Gonzaga team.
the. I agree with that, and I honestly wasn't too shocked about it afterwards either. Which is, and what pissed me off too. I think the BYU game was it might have been Thursday. Um, wasn't that Thursday?
Yeah, I forget which day that was.
Um, March
No, it
19th.
had to have been Friday because they played yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. But the point guard for BYU, all I saw on Twitter, I wasn't watching the game, and I'm looking at I'm looking at the box score, and then I see that it's over, and I look I look at Twitter, and all I see is Robert Wright the third, and then it shows the video of the kids in AAU when they dribble between their legs, and they're like jumping on the basketball and like doing all these like they think they're Kyrie and like doing all these dance
Mhm.
moves and stuff, and they were like Robert Wright the third with 3 minutes left in like a 6 point game, and I was like, dude. Give it to Banza. What are we doing? Like this kid had 35 points.
I know.
How does he not get the ball?
And Texas
Oh,
kept missing free throws too. It was like they
he
were
did?
trying to let them back
Oh,
in the
no.
game.
He didn't miss any free throws. Jeez.
No, Texas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. They shot 50% from free throws. That's bad. You don't win a tournament
They shot
game normally like
50%.
that. Well, BYU shot 18% from 3, so that's how you get
Yeah,
that to that
bad.
number. Um, do you have anything else in the region? I got one more thing, and I'm good.
Uh, so Rothstein's pick to win the championship was Purdue, and I heard that and I
Yeah?
kind of scoffed. And after 2 games, and I like
Maybe
feel
this
like I can
Rothstein
do this.
fella knows something.
I feel like I do this with every team though because they're beating like teams that are much lower seeds than them. So like Purdue beat Queens by 1,000 points and then looked really good against Miami, and I'm like kind of back in on Purdue, but at the same time, it's the same thing with Illinois. And in all fairness, I have Illinois in my Final Four, but Illinois just looks like a total wagon. But they've beaten Penn and VCU, two double-digit seeds. So it's like, I know I just jumped around again, but so I'm trying to decide like trying to
What
pump the
matters?
brakes a little bit on Purdue because I want
Yeah,
to put a future on them.
I get it. I would
Because all the
say
reasons he was like, this is like the only 4-year player team in college basketball, and like Braden
well,
Smith
they've been
was
to a
like
national
season player of
championship.
the year.
They were the
They've
one
been,
seed
yeah,
and
like
lost.
yeah, right.
they've done everything.
Yeah, they've lost as a 1 seed.
Um,
They've made it to the national championship and lost as a 1 seed in
yeah,
the first round, by the way. Um,
yes,
and then was what preseason number
they were
1.
preseason #1 this year,
Yep.
yeah, and Braden
So
Smith, like, broke the assist record, the
yeah, he's
NCAA
done.
assist record.
They've done
It was
everything.
like, yeah, they've done everything except for win a national championship. So I
So
don't know,
maybe they're
maybe they do.
due. Shit, maybe they're
I
due.
and like and they get Texas now. I think they're gonna
I
beat the
was
brakes off Texas.
I was just gonna
And
say
then,
the
like,
issue is I think you got to jump in now because you're not going to convince yourself one way or the other with Texas because they're going to beat them. They're going to beat them by a good amount. And you're not going to know. You're going to be like, is that just another double digit seed that they beat, or is it like something that matters? So you're kind of you kind of have to just I think you have to bite the bullet. And if you I think you got to go with the future.
my stamp on it.
I think yeah, because I think you're not going to
I
learn anything
trust
from
in
Texas. The
Purdue
only thing that the
again.
Texas game's going to do is lower your odds. That's the only thing it's going to do.
Yes, that is correct. All right. I trusted Purdue 2 years ago, and that hurt. But that was the like it wasn't their fault.
No,
They
yeah,
just
they
ran
got
into that
that UConn
UConn
team
team.
was a buzzsaw.
But I had so much money riding on that. It's hard to watch. Anyway, we can move on.
Last thing about this, uh, late in the Long Island game against Arizona, they subbed in Eddie Munyak, and Eddie Munyak shot and made his first college basketball field goal. It was a 3-pointer, banks it in. His father, John Munyak, was part of my sports business classroom class, and I got to meet
Hey,
him, and he's a very nice guy, and he became a sports agent for his son Eddie. So shout out Eddie.
oh,
Um,
okay.
it was a nice video posted online from pretty big accounts. It was a big moment for him. Shout out to his family. I gave him I sent him a LinkedIn message. I said, shout out to your kid. What a great moment. So that's I just want to give a little shout on the pod because that was awesome. That was cool to see.
Nice.
And I knew it was like I knew Long Island was on there. I think I said something in my video, but I'm not sure. Um, I knew we had a possibility of getting in if it was a blowout. So that's cool. It's really cool. All right, let's go down to the south. I'm guessing Florida's the south region.
Florida is in fact the South.
All right. Well, let me start off with the big Gators themselves. I
I
assume so.
don't think
Let's do
there's
it.
any way.
Yeah,
This is a there's a lot in this region.
there is a lot in this region. This is a fun region. This is a really good one.
Yep.
Um, so Iowa takes down Florida in a scrappy game, and Florida actually comes crawling back at the end. The score does not dictate what it was like. Um, Florida had to crawl themselves back into this game. They eventually did, and ends up still losing. The defending champions, that point guard from Princeton or Yale or the Asian kid Lee, that
Mhm.
kid. It just seemed like the whole year is like this is everyone was like pointing and it's like this is going to be the problem if this team fails. And then the last play of the season for the Gators, um, he messes it up and can't even they can't even shot off. I mean, it's rough.
Yeah. I mean, it was a sad last possession, but I thought the bigger crime was the possession before when the guy is just sitting wide open in the corner. That I didn't know how that happened.
Yeah,
Like they just couldn't get back on defense, and um, yeah, it is crazy that like Iowa's best player Sturts was like I don't think he even hit a 3-pointer, and they still somehow beat this Florida team.
it's one of the
Just
it's one of the
almost
crazier
9,
results of this of the March so far. And
definitely.
so how did this like what did this Iowa team I didn't even know where they came from. I like before the tournament, you could have told like gun to my head, I wouldn't even guess that they were in it.
I mean, they were like the Big Ten was so good this year that they were like a 500 team in the conference, so they automatically get in just for being competitive in the league. But I think this is the first year without Graham McCaffrey, who was their coach forever, and their whole thing while he was there was like all offense, no defense, and they never won in the tournament. Like you remember the year they were the 1 seed and they got beat by I forget who it was. They got beat in the second round. They haven't made a Sweet 16 in like 30 years. But now that they actually play some defense, like turns out you can win tournament games that way.
Funny
But
that it's such a
yeah,
different
then it starts.
philosophy than the football. Football's all
What's that?
defense. Said their
Oh
football's
yeah,
all
yeah.
defense. Yeah.
It is ironic that way, yeah. But yeah, I mean, they still look like an Iowa team, physically at least. Um, like Bennett Sturts does not really look like a basketball player, but he is their best player.
He's
I
got a
did
lot of
not peg.
buzz. He's got a lot of
Yeah, I
buzz.
did not peg them as a team to win a big game like this, though. I was equally as surprised.
Telling you, these teams like you every year, and I was gonna say this, but like the UConn years kind of throw it in the loop because they were such a big team. But like
Mhm.
point guards, man, it's always the point guard. And like the
Mhm.
UConn teams, they had Castle, they had the guy that they had a guy that the year before that got drafted too. They had Castle and they had point guards out on that team that facilitated it.
Oh
But
my
it's like I
God,
feel like
yeah.
every year it's like, wow, who would have expected this? And it's like, well, because the point guard hit one extra three than the other team. And
Yeah.
or assisted one other three than the other team. Um I think it was a terrible game for Ruben Chinleo. Um,
I'm
I
not gonna
still think
try.
that he'll be a good NBA player. He's got a good build for the NBA. He could use a little bit better shooting, but that was a tough game for him. Really, really tough game for him.
It's also like it's hard to feel bad for Florida when they just won the championship.
No, yeah, exactly, and most of them was the same guys.
Yeah,
That's actually a great example. They had no what's his name, like Clayton Jr. They
Clayton.
had no, yeah.
That was I forget who said it. It might have been Mark
I think it was
Titus that
Pardon
was
My Take.
saying,
Yeah, I think it was
yeah,
Mark Titus.
talking about Florida,
Yeah.
about how good that team was. But then when you actually look back at some of the games that they won, it's like, well, if they didn't have Walter Clayton, who was literally the player in the tournament, then they would have been out in, well, not the Sweet 16 because they boat raced Maryland, but definitely by the Elite Eight, they would have been out. They
Yeah, I
didn't have
mean
Walter Clayton, and sure enough, 4 seconds left,
yeah,
need to
they
get
don't have
off
a
a
shot.
shot, and they pissed down their leg. Yeah,
Yeah.
Clayton hits that shot last year for sure.
No, and I think even though we're jumping around again, I think going Arizona, Arkansas, we didn't really talk about that for a second, but I think in that moment, I want Darius Acuff with the ball. I don't want anyone else on any of the other teams.
Mhm.
Honestly, maybe within the rest of the tournament. And that's what's scary. And it's a Calipari team. Like I know like that's what's scary about this Arkansas team. I think that
Yeah,
they're like last shot of the game, I think out of everyone left, you pretty much wanted an Acuff, which might not be crazy to tell you. I'm sure there's another guy I'm not thinking of, but Acuff's definitely top three.
no, I mean, I think I would agree. I mean, if I, yeah, like I need one person to get me a bucket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, okay, so that's how Iowa did it. Now, what about Nebraska beating the scrappy Vanderbilt team? Which I thought that this Vanderbilt team was good. I know they had that
They
big win
were.
against Florida in the SEC tournament, which kind of inflated them. Um, they could have gotten a 4 seed. I think they could have played what's it called? They could have played Troy in the first round, but I guess it wouldn't matter. Nebraska would have been the 5 seed, I guess, probably. So it just
Yeah,
flipped.
I mean that was I think my most, or the game that I enjoyed the most the whole weekend.
You think so?
Like, well, because it was such a good game. Like, I think the Santa Clara game, uh, damn, Clubhouse, same region, jumped around again. Um, like there might have been one or two games that were crazier endings, but the environment of the Nebraska fans in Oklahoma
Yeah.
City was like, I would call it an NBA playoff game, but I think that would be understating the energy that was in that building. It was
It
unbelievable
was louder. It was louder than OKC. I don't know if
in
it
the
okay.
finals.
I don't want to if we're especially if we clip this, I don't want everyone in the comments to be all mad at me. So I don't know if it was a playoff game or not, but it was louder than the average Oklahoma City
Yeah.
attendance.
They said on Part of My Take that they broke the decibel record. I didn't look into that
which
at
I wouldn't be.
all.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be
Good,
surprised.
good catch on. But
I just don't want to get yelled
let's
at
not
in the
get duped
comments.
again when we go onto TikTok and.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, you
But yeah,
didn't read
that
the fine print."
right. This was the golf stat that he was like,
Yes.
"Oh, without." That was a tough one.
That was a tough one.
But anyway, yeah, I mean that it was truly incredible in there. The booing after every single call, even when it was like so obviously a Nebraska foul, was just like peak fandom, and it's just like 17,000 super drunk like farmers
Oh yeah.
that have nothing like Nebraska sports is their life, and this is the first thing that they've had to get excited about in so long. The football team is just has done nothing since the early '90s. So that was awesome, and like you had to feel awful for Vanderbilt because that shot like was so
Oh
close to
yeah.
going in.
It doesn't
It
get
was
closer.
almost hard to believe it didn't go in. But yeah, like that game was so good. Every time Nebraska came down, hit a three, and it felt like they might start pulling away. Vanderbilt was back hitting another shot. Who's the one guard on Vanderbilt? It just felt like every time Miles, is that his name?
Let me look.
It just felt like every time. Yeah. Oh, like no, that wasn't Miles. I guess it was Tanner.
Tyler Tanner.
Yeah, Tyler Tanner.
I mean, Vanderbilt was just hucking it, absolutely
Yes.
hucking it. Which is always fun to see, especially with the like the in the it's not as fun when it's the NBA, but it's fun in college.
Yes.
It's like let's just let the kids chuck.
Yep.
I will say this. So, my friend Kieran, he's in our fancy group chat and our we've been mentioned. He's probably in the comments. Um, he went to South Carolina with me. His dad went to Florida. His mom went to Vanderbilt. So he roots for those two teams as well. He had a rough Sunday. He had a rough Sunday. Um,
That's a tough stack.
so just brutal stretch for him. I mean, just two absolute brutal games. Um, I think his mom. I did was. See, I don't know. This was Saturday. The Florida game was Sunday, so never mind. But his mom mentioned something about the Florida game afterwards, and he was like, "Oh, the Vanderbilt lost." So, but yeah, just bad Sunday and bad weekend for my friend Kieran. So for him. Let's go to VCU, North Carolina, down by 19 points
Yep.
Thursday night. I'm screaming back, and I mean, just so what I heard this morning was all the talks of is UNC going to get a new coach?
I've heard that as well.
Is that
It is crazy
realistic?
that like I mean, I think so. They've underperformed like he went to a national title, but they were an 8 seed and it was kind of just like a dream run. That was the year they beat Duke in the Final Four and Coach K's last year. But since then, like they have significantly underperformed for Carolina standards. So I don't know. Maybe they will. It feels like it's such a hard place to not win because it just like it recruits itself so easily.
You got to give it a
Um,
tough break though when it's tough first out, right?
I guess, but like,
But this isn't just
I
like a
mean, the
1 year
whole
thing.
season,
Yeah,
yeah, right. We like the whole body of work. So yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked. Um,
definitely something interesting to keep an eye out for because I mean
yeah,
that's a coveted job in the college basketball space. So
it might be the best. It might be the best.
you don't think if Duke was
It's
open,
close.
it's right there. I mean, it's
Duke
right there.
might, yeah, Duke might be better. Yeah, it's a toss up. Definitely a toss up.
So that should be interesting. And then, as you mentioned earlier, VCU turns around and gets spanked by Illinois. Illinois does look like a wagon. As you said, though, played Penn, played VCU. I wouldn't call these the powerhouses of college basketball. But that's also ignoring the body of work that Illinois has produced all season.
Correct. Illinois is a good team.
Yeah. So I still believe in Illinois. I have them beating Houston, actually.
I do too.
So it's funny. My bracket, besides Vanderbilt on this side, was pretty solid. But the yeah, I have Illinois beating them. I just think that the size of Illinois is incredible, and they can use that. Like a lot of these teams, they have size and they know only how to use it defensively, and
Mhm.
like Illinois knows how to use it offensively, and that is it's a really key element to them, which is why I think they're the number one rated offense um in college basketball, something like that. So
Wouldn't surprise
Houston's
me.
defense is always going to be good. I mean, that's always a tough.
That's what makes this game so fascinating because it is truly like strength on strength. And I
Yeah.
guess like this year's Houston team isn't as good defensively as they usually are, but like in these tournament games, they've given up 47 and 57 points
Yeah.
through 2 games. So, and granted, one of those is Idaho, but the other is Texas A&M, who's a real team. And it's like that is the thing that scares me about Illinois is like it feels like they can outscore anybody, but you get them into a rock fight with Houston, and all of a sudden they're playing their game in Houston too. All of a sudden, I don't feel too great, especially considering their best player is a freshman guard who's Wagler's the reason I have them in the Final Four. But you never know how a guy like that is going to look when he goes up against just men who are
No, and
psychopaths.
that's the key is that Wagler
Wagler, yeah.
Wagler is gonna have to dictate this pace in this game. And if he lets Houston dictate the pace early, there's gonna be some problems. And if Houston plays the game that they want to end up playing, Illinois will come into some problems. But I think that I think the Illinois' offense is good enough to be able to push past that. But as you said,
Mhm.
strength on strength, I think the defense for Houston is good enough as well to really cause some problems, throw some haymakers at Illinois.
Yeah.
And it will be interesting to see what they look like, especially in this. I haven't watched a lot of Big Ten basketball, especially in this tournament. What they look like when they get socked in the mouth a little bit, because they haven't yet, and they're going to get socked in the mouth, whether it's for 2 possessions or for 10 possessions. But they're going to get socked in the mouth for
Mhm.
a period of time during this game, and it'll be interesting to see how they respond. They have a lot of tall, skinny Europeans, which I find fascinating. And
Stojakovic, Ivisic, Berkovic. They're
Zizic,
like the Soviet like dream or the
national
dream
team.
team beat. Yeah.
Um, it's so it'll be interesting to see what happens when they come up against some real defense because their response to that is going to be, of course, of course, it's going to determine the outcome of the game, but that'll be fascinating to see, especially if they do advance, how they react to a good defense like that, because they're going to have to face one again eventually. Um, all right, let's go. What do we have left here? This is the North region, right?
No, the Midwest. For what it's worth,
Midwest.
Illinois did hang 82 on Michigan State, but they lost that game.
Dang, dang,
But that in itself
dang.
was quite the accomplishment.
Yeah, that's a good feat
Also,
for
like,
Michigan State too.
so mean that they put this game at 10 o'clock on Thursday. Like, that wasn't nice.
That's not cool.
It's too
Also,
late. And
what
I'm
was up
going to
with
stay up
Sunday?
for it because I do think that this is the best game of the Sweet 16, but
What's
not
up with
nice. I'm going to be tired.
what's up with Sunday too, where you have the game start at noon, you have one game and then a game at 2:30, and then a game at 5:30, and then you have 3 games at 8?
For Saturday, that is perfect.
Yes, exactly. But for
But for
Sunday, what are you
Sunday,
doing?
no.
No. Why is it?
No.
Why is it a March Madness game starting at 10:10 on a Sunday?
On a Sunday night.
What are we
Yeah,
doing?
that's unacceptable.
Well, and like this isn't like there's. It's funny. I'm the opposite when it comes to the NBA. It's the NBA. Give me a Sunday game at like 10:30 because nobody's freaking watching it. Like, and everyone's
Yeah.
watching these March Madness games, and everyone wants to watch every minute of these March Madness games. So it's like, why the hell would you have it back on a Sunday?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't stay. I mean, luckily the last game was a blowout.
Yeah,
So I guess
after
I made it up for
halftime.
pretty much everything. Oh
Um,
no, I went to bed in the middle of the Arizona game, so I didn't even see the end of that one. I thought Arkansas was the game, but yeah. We didn't talk about
oh
Arizona at all. We totally skipped
no, we really
Arizona.
didn't. I mean, they dominated Long Island, and the Utah State game I didn't like close attention to. So
I mean, like the score looks close, but it never really
that's what I
felt
felt.
close. Again, I didn't finish watching it, but yeah, it felt like they were in control the whole time.
So
I
what's
guess there's not really much to say. Like before, nothing has changed since the tournament started. They still
that's
are
kind of how I felt.
maybe the best team in basketball, but it does. I guess the thing that has changed is that now Arkansas is like the hot pick.
Yeah,
So even though they've beaten a 13 and a 12,
they yeah, that's also true. The Arkansas, this is another example of pace where if they could win that Arizona game if they get up early and play at Acuff's pace early. But I do think Acuff can play at like a bunch of different paces, so I don't know how much that affects it. But I do think if he controls it, there's gonna be some problems. Let's go to the Midwest. Michigan's the number one seed. Shout out Howard. UMBC Howard was the
yeah,
Midwest.
Howard put up a fight.
Yep. And it was UMBC Howard to DMV schools. So
Yeah,
shout out the DMV. Um,
Howard actually played Michigan just as close as Maryland did.
there you go. There you go. Game was close early, right? Like that was a pretty decently
Yeah, it
close
was a
game.
game and a half.
Good for Howard. That's a
Yeah,
good shine to your franchise. And you got a tournament win because they count. So I think that's a good
yeah.
season for them. But this was the St. Louis. They
The
they
St.
were a
Louis
fun
game was
story.
sad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a
They
fun
were a fun
story, and then it was
story.
like, all right.
It kind of was a bummer because they were another one where it was like Thursday at 10 o'clock, so I didn't even get to watch with the
Oh, the
new
Georgia
team
game.
the Rex Picks. Yeah,
Yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Avila. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I felt kind of robbed that we didn't really there that at least I chose to go to bed. So I guess it's my fault, but they shouldn't put games at 10 o'clock. Um anyway, and then they just get the doors blown off by Michigan. So I felt like my Robbie Avila tournament experience was not what it should have been. So I was bummed about that. But
Well,
Michigan
I
looked
think
like
they screwed him with a bad
yeah.
matchup. Sorry, I just had to say that.
Yes.
Like, I mean, they if we wanted Robbie, they should have put Robbie against Arkansas. Now that's a game right there. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, him against Michigan, like they're just gonna suffocate him.
Well, and like he lines up with the Big Ten Play of the Year and Lindeborg. Like it's just not it's
Yeah,
not who he should be lined up against.
no.
So it's a shame.
I do think in the right bracket, this could have been the DJ Burns of the year. That one, the people that everyone's excited about because they know he's
The,
not going to make it in the NBA, and he's
yeah.
very exciting in college. Yeah,
The biggest what if story of the tournament was St. Louis.
But for low tier storylines, that's the biggest what if
Yeah.
is St. Louis
Look,
low
NC
tier.
State, did they make the Final Four? I think
Yeah,
they did.
yeah, they did. They had quite the run. Um, yeah, they did. All right, we're talking too much about St. Louis. Let's talk about the other guys in this bracket. Tennessee has really surprised me. They were a team that I was kind of just out on, and like not because of anything like that they did bad, but because they they weren't flashy. They weren't anything that was
Mhm.
like special. And I always knew like all year they had Nate Ament, who's going to be an NBA player. And he's going to be drafted pretty high. And I know they beat Miami of Ohio, who everybody loved going into the tournament. And I guess they did beat a good Virginia team. Um, but I do think this Tennessee team has surprised me, and I think that they have just like the right enough. They just have like a balanced team. It seems there's not like
Mhm.
there's no glaring flaws. Maybe some 3-point shooting, and there's no like they're not like fantastic at defense. Like they're good at defense, but they're not like Michigan State or even Michigan or um, Arizona. Um, So they're an interesting team to me, and I don't know. I don't watch a lot of Iowa State. I didn't even realize that they were a 2 seed before I looked at the bracket and filled out the bracket. Um, so this is a tell me more about Iowa State. How did they get here? Really, honestly,
Yeah,
you don't know. They're not Big Ten.
you're on spot there. They're Big 12. I
That's
don't
on me
find
then.
them.
I thought they were Big Ten. So yeah, no, okay. So I don't know any really much about Iowa State at all. Then never mind. Sorry for putting you on the spot. So I know about Tennessee though.
I mean, well, Tennessee also has Jacoby Gillespie, who was Maryland's best guard last year. So only only member of Maryland of the Crab Five who's still in the tournament.
Nice. I didn't
I
realize
guess
that.
he was the only one to begin with as well.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
so anyway, I'm for Tennessee. Uh, also, like Virginia, I had Virginia in my survivor pool in their first game, and watching them struggle down to the last minute with Wright State. I know they ended up winning by 9, but that at no point did that game feel safe
Oh,
until
no,
literally
not at all.
the last minute. So after that, I was like, yeah, this Virginia team is not. They're not making a run. They just like they don't play. They don't look like the Virginia of our childhood. Like they play fast, they turn the ball over, they don't play good defense. And I'm watching this like having not watched Virginia really. I was like, what is this? This is not This is not Virginia basketball thing of beauty, like John Rothstein says. Like this is Virginia basketball. Like what am I
Slop.
watching? Yeah. Anyway,
No, I
happy for
agree. I think
Tennessee.
they did.
I didn't
I thought
think
they played
Iowa
sloppy.
State a run. Well, I was impressed at how badly Iowa State beat Kentucky, but I didn't think Kentucky was all that good either.
I was just gonna say that's
To
the
be
one
honest.
thing about Iowa. That's why I kind of wanted to know some more. But even though I didn't realize you didn't know anymore. But the Kentucky that I didn't find them very impressive all year either. So that's kind of where I feel where
Mhm.
I think. I mean, I wasn't a fan of. It's funny. The normally like SEC bias is what I go for, but I was kind of out on these two SEC teams, and I mean I was out on Texas A&M too. But the Yeah, this Kentucky team, I mean, they had all that money into that team. Uh, it's not I mean, the guy that they paid $2 million to, I don't even think played in the game. So it's a rough look for Kentucky basketball, especially when Cal is doing so well and like has
It's tough.
yeah,
Definitely tough.
has like the best Cal guard forever, and it's like, well, that was quick. And um yeah, it's rough.
When
It's
they've
rough.
won, he's won 4 tournament games already.
Yep. Yeah, because he
So
made it to Sweet
and
16 last
Kentucky's
year too.
won one on a buzzer beater, which granted that was awesome, but also like they probably did not deserve to win that game.
Well, and the last year they had like they beat St. John's. They were like no shot of making it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was Cal has been destroying that breakup, just completely winning it. Um, yeah, it's rough looks for Kentucky basketball. Um, but I also agree with you. I didn't think they were that impressive, so I really don't know what to think about this Iowa State team. I guess it should be an interesting matchup between this Tennessee team. It could go, it could
Yeah.
probably go either way. Um, Alabama, I'm kind of shocked by. I know they didn't play like I didn't know much about Texas Tech. I didn't think they were that good. Um, and of course Hofstra, I had no faith they were going to win the game.
It was
So
close for the first half. They stayed in it.
it was. You have a good point. It was close for the first half. Um, But I don't know this Bama team. I haven't like it. I've seen a lot better Bama teams. I think is the issue, and this is just nowhere near that. And those Bama teams
Yeah.
weren't able to do it. So it's like, what makes me think that this Bama team's going to go in and beat Michigan? I just don't think it's possible.
So yeah, I definitely agree with that. It does feel like every year we have the same concerns about Alabama, and it doesn't matter, and they go on a run in the tournament where it's like obviously this year was a little bit different because what was his name, Holloway got like arrested, and um, but like they also had the Brandon Miller thing, and I know
Yep.
he played. But that was funny because what Brandon Miller did was seemingly way worse. But it's a conversation for another day. But I feel like it's always like, their offense is so good, but that's not like can only take them so far in the tournament. And I don't think Nate Oates has made a Final Four yet, but it does feel like people are like to pick against them. But when they're on, man, like
Yeah.
they can obliterate teams. And Texas Tech looked like they did not belong on the floor with them.
Texas
And I
Tech, I
don't
mean,
think it holds
they were
against Michigan because I think
terrible.
Michigan's too good. But like, I mean, you throw them in South region and pretty decent shot to make the Final Four.
I think I'd be worried about their size. I mean, yeah, they got they got a 7-footer, they got a couple 6'10", 6'11" guys. I just think Michigan's so big. Like
Michigan's so big.
I know. That's what concerns me. Is like, I mean, when
Yeah.
you like they're yeah, it's gonna be a problem to like they're gonna have to keep up with the scoring quite a bit. And I don't know, without Holloway, maybe it's too tall of a task, but I mean, I just think that this is where the road for Alabama ends. I think this is kind of where it was
Yeah,
supposed
I
to end
agree.
too.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree with that.
but I mean, they've had an incredible season, and with the stuff that's happened, for them to still win 2 tournament games against a Texas Tech team that was a fifth seed, and they, as you said, I mean, it looked like Texas Tech came off a bender. Like it just didn't look like they were playing any sort of basketball. Um, One thing I wanted to point out about the Tennessee team before we end off with Michigan, um, reminds me a lot of the Auburn teams that we've seen in the past. Those Broheim, what's his name?
Mhm.
Rome,
Broom,
Broom,
Broom.
Broom. Yeah,
Don't
those
know.
teams. They remind me a lot of those, where it's like really good defense, um, above water offense, and on a good
Mhm.
night, be like, wow, this team can really punish you. So that's how I feel about Tennessee.
That's kind of yeah. I feel like that's been Tennessee's thing for a couple years.
Yeah, like
Yeah, that
A Walmart Auburn. That's kind of I've
yeah,
always
or
seen their
I mean
roster.
they like I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago. They had that team of just like all Eastern European dudes, and they were so good at defense. And
Yeah.
like they had the Dalton Connect year, where it was like he was the only one who
Yep.
could get a bucket. So
Yeah, and they had that short guy with the braids forever. Probably 5 or
oh,
6 years. Ziegler?
Ziegler, yeah.
Yeah, they had Ziegler for probably 5 or 6 years. And it's funny that now that he's gone, it's like, wow, the defense on the point guard position's real different. Like,
Yeah, right. Yeah, Gillespie's
it's
not a great defender.
Ugh. Alright, Michigan. Why I mean, I kinda have them to win it all. Why aren't they gonna win it all? Would be my question.
I don't have a good answer for you because I also have them win. I think I mean the answer would be Duke and Arizona are just as good.
Okay.
So I think it's basically a coin flip if everything holds. Um, I could see Purdue's beaten them once already. Um, I don't know if that happens again. Like they didn't. I think they struggled with them in the regular season. I'm just looking at future matchups here. I don't
Yeah.
think I'd be pretty surprised at this point if they don't make the Final Four. Like Iowa State doesn't scare me that much, and obviously I don't know much about Iowa State because I got put on the spot and had nothing. So
That's me. I
so
know.
take
That's
that with
me.
a grain of salt
That's me.
that I'm not scared of them. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna try to argue against it because At times I think their offense can look a little bit clunky. Um, but it hasn't through 2 games, and they don't really face a great defensive team. I guess Iowa State, I think's defense is pretty good. Um, but, like, they don't really have to face a great team until they see Arizona in the Final Four, if they do. Purdue's not a great defensive team at all. Um, but yeah, I still like Michigan. Nothing that has happened so far has changed my prediction, other than the fact that I kind of feel like Purdue has Team of Destiny vibes. But
Really do. You want to the Big Ten? I'm looking at the Big Ten tournament, and this is all uh literally stat crunching. Like I didn't watch this game, but Purdue beat Michigan in the Big Ten tournament, 80 to
yes,
72. And you want to know what the only thing I could find that they did better? I mean, you probably guess it.
what free
Free
throws?
throws. Free throws. Yep. Bingo. They had 16 out of 22. Michigan had 5 out of 6. So that's the only way to defeat them is make sure that they don't get to the free throw line, and you do. Like that's there, and that
It's
simplifies it
out.
very. Yeah, that simplifies it very easily, of course.
Yeah.
But if like that's the type of like they had the same amount of field goals made. Purdue did or yeah, Purdue had a better percentage. Purdue had 3 less 3-pointers. I mean, how do you beat a team by 7 with 3 less 3-pointers? Like it's so that is so luck, and that is what I'm trying to say is like that. Talk about team of destiny. Like we've already seen it in the Big Ten tournament. Maybe they have it in them again, because
Maybe.
that is some crazy like. And I'm sure there was probably some bad turnovers or something that led this to where it ended up. But basically it seemed like Purdue got Michigan on a cold stretch for 5 minutes and called it a day,
Mhm.
and that's what you got to hope for. Um, that's gonna be brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good team. That's why we both picked them beforehand, which by the way, we both did not know.
We had very different Final Fours, in
Yes.
all fairness.
Yes,
Mine
we
is
did.
still alive.
Yes, yours is still alive.
Radius is not.
I don't have any. I have Michigan. That's it. You know,
Wait, who is your South? Oh, wait,
I had Florida.
Florida?
Yeah,
Okay.
I had Florida beating Illinois. I should have kept Illinois. Oh well, it's all right. The brackets are fun, and then
Yeah, you don't play to win brackets.
no, yeah, you just play to have fun with it. Um,
Um, But
well,
speaking of brackets,
yes. I was just gonna
gotta
say,
shout out my mom.
yeah, Terp's
I
mom, baby.
I told Brady before we started that I have her bracket pulled up because it's so correct
So
that
what has
it's
she
like
gotten
not
wrong?
distracting. She got Clemson, Iowa wrong,
Okay,
so she's obviously missing Iowa in the Sweet 16.
that's a brutal beat.
Uh, and then she had Florida beating Clemson, so I guess you would that gets marked wrong. And then she had Wisconsin over High Point, and she had Gonzaga over Texas.
Wow,
That's it. She has 2 perfect regions.
holy crap! Wow, and she's running away with the competition, right?
She's I think somebody's pretty Tommy W is within striking distance,
Okay,
but she has 50 more max points than anybody else. Is
wow.
Pops your dad?
No, Pops is not. Pops is
Okay.
my dad is Fitzy one.
Okay, because
He's not doing
Pops
well this year.
has the second most max points.
Oh, shut up, Pops.
So whoever pops it. Oh wait, that actually might be my dad.
That would be awesome. The Hagans are just running away with it.
And then
That you guys would
yeah,
have a
I'm sitting
dynasty.
down at 18. I think Pop. I mean, that must be my dad. I don't know who else would name their bracket Pops
Besides my
if
dad.
it wasn't. Yeah, that's why I asked. It was you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty funny. But yeah, she's in the 99.9th percentile,
Damn.
and she's ranked 379th, like in
Yeah, in the
all of
world.
the ESPN sound, yeah. So I was like, I mean, that sounds really good, but obviously there's still 370 people ahead of her. So just for context, I looked up to see what I was at, and my bracket's the 58th percentile, so I'm slightly above average.
Wait,
And
let me
my
guess.
ranking is, yeah,
3 million?
not even close. 11.4 million.
Oh my goodness. And
So
you're in
out
the
of
58th
like
percentile.
I'm the 58th. So out of like 25 million brackets, he's in
Holy
the
crap.
top
That's
400.
awesome. That's awesome. That's
It's
really cool.
incredible.
That is it's such a shame. Iowa's gotta lose. Yeah. Iowa's gotta
Yeah,
lose.
you gotta get
Iowa.
it. Well, so she had mm, and Florida in her Elite Eight. So
Okay.
they can win another one.
Okay. Who does
But
she
then
have coming out of there?
Houston.
Okay.
So she's got Houston, Michigan State, Arizona, Michigan, her final four.
I'm rooting for a bracket.
I'm rooting for a bracket
Yeah.
too.
I'm rooting 1000% for a bracket. That needs to be, I mean, that's incredible. That's incredible stuff right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Her 2 weak spots are she has Gonzaga and Florida in her Elite Eight. But after that, she's clean.
Yeah. And but literally, yeah, as you said, two perfect brackets or two perfect
Her
regions.
2 weak spots.
Yeah. That's insane. Shout out to Miss Hagan. Shout out to Miss Hagan. That's incredible. All right, and I think, screw talking about Jerome Ford and Romeo Dobbs for a second. Let's just end the pod. Um, thank you all for listening. We're gonna talk some football. We're gonna do a pod. We're in between Friday and Saturday, so don't worry, guys.
Yes.
We will have one in later the week though, and part of it will be football. So if you're bored of basketball, don't worry. Just because there'll be current games going on. So, all right. Thank you all for listening. We'll see everyone